So just a little bit of an update to the video I had just made on the SVBONY phone clamp slash scope clamp. One of the issues that seemed to be apparent was the way that it's made and the way that it's going to, no matter how you adjust, it's going to be plastered up against the scope. And it seemed like, obviously when you're adjusting your scope on your rifle in regards to where your cheek is on your cheek rest, you're adjusting for eye relief. And basically there is none with this, the way that it's designed. So what I came up with was an idea, which was basically just a spacer to throw in between the phone clamp portion and the scope clamp portion. Basically opening this up and increasing the gap in between the clamp for the phone and the clamp that goes on your scope. So just by hand, holding my phone away from my scope and finding a place that seemed to pick up the widest view of the scope picture itself, and also be clear in focus. The gap I came up with was approximately 1.5 inches. Gave me a very wide scope picture, translating to the phone and also giving it a decent amount of focus, staying in focus. It allows for the adjustability of the zoom on the scope itself. So there's things to play around with as far as zooming in with your phone's zoom and where you want your scope's zoom to be set to get a nice clear picture. But basically what I came up with was just a simple block of aluminum, some scrap aluminum I had in my toolbox, using my tap set, figuring out that the thread on this is 1/4 20. The thread on this obviously is 1/4 20. This just screws into there. So basically what I needed was an open, somewhat centered hole in one end of the 1.5 inch long block of aluminum. Number 7 drill, which is what's called out for the minor diameter of 1/4 20 tap, so that this could thread in to that portion of the aluminum block. Now to get this to thread into the opposite end of the aluminum block, I centered as best I could on the opposite end of the aluminum block and drilled and tapped another 1/4 inch 20 hole, threaded hole, but put a grub screw in it so that it would bottom out and yet have a good 3 to 4 threads sticking out that could screw into here. I made 2 of them actually. After trying it out and attaching it to my scope and getting my phone lined up where I got a nice clear picture, along with the editing that is allowable on my phone itself, here's a couple of videos of the scope attachment, scope/phone attachment on my Hatsan Flash Pup down here in my basement range and looking at the target that is across the basement from my shooting table. So all in all, I think it came out pretty good. It gives a much better view, a much better recording format using this. Again, this is an extremely, under $10 unit. And I'm just trying to come up with something that would be nice and usable as far as recording a scope image, as far as target shooting or possibly even hunting. The only change I'm making to the block is to paint it black. So this is the piece after it was finished. As I said, all I did was paint it black and matte clear coat it. 1/4 20 thread open on one end, 1/4 20 thread on the other end with a 1/4 20 grub screw screwed in. 1.5 inch overall length. The other piece that's fitted on here and that's basically it. That 1.5 inch separation between the lens of my phone and where this is going to clamp onto my scope really makes a big difference. This is an example without the zoom adjusted on my phone at all. The previous one, I had it dialed in to zoom in. Like that. I just went from backed off to a zoom in. So you can see all the possibilities now that the proper relief is given to the phone from the scope. So I really like this idea and how it turned out. And that's about it. That was the update. If you have one of these attachments and you have the capability, it's just the spacing between the two to get you some eye relief, so to speak, between your phone and your scope. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Maybe that'll help some people that have one of these SVBONY phone/scope attachments, and hope you enjoyed the video. Until the next one, guys, stay safe and shoot safe. Take care.